There it is. It even took my microphone a second to catch up. That was such kindness. I cannot with y'all. Oh my gosh. Oops, your hand slipped. Okay. Okay. Well, then let's see here. Wow, that's great. We have a hype train, and I've only just gotten started. I haven't even actually started yet. Oh gosh, wow. 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 So thank you to, hold on, I gotta catch up. Because I was making tea, and then it was too hot, so I threw a big old ice cube in it, and now it's like melting the ice cube, so yeah. Quiz Creates, thank you for the follow. Love Psycho, thank you for the resub. Bloodthread Cheers. Panther Lily Cat, Sparks. Pan, thank you for the resubs. Latia, thank you for the gift subs to Super Writer Andy, Shazi, Kate Latte, Mr. Owlbear, and Leshki. Wow, thank you. Thanks so much. Today is very chill, although now I'm like nervous and overheated, so I need my special DM fan. Yeah, today is very chill and relaxed and low key. It's funny because Eugenio, DM Jazzy Hands, is also on right now, snapping pictures of Pokemon butts, I sincerely hope. And we actually talked together about, well, what are we going to do after stream time? Like, who should we raid? And oh my gosh, thank you, Dan's on the move. We're like, who should we raid? And I'm like, well, we should probably just figure out and raid someone together. So that's probably what we'll do later. But yes, welcome on in, everyone. But I moved my buttons around, so I have to be very careful not to press one by memory. So some disco. Thank you very much for the resubs and the gift subs. All good. Wow. Oh my goodness, and Ruby with a raid. Jeez. Okay. Wow. Okay. The queerdom is here. Well, welcome on in. Welcome, queerdom. Geez, wow. Hello, everyone. What is happening right now? Oh my gosh. This is a great way to start a Tuesday. I'm gonna sit here and calmly sip tea. Oh, that's good. It's like a honey vanilla chamomile tea, which is weird because my voice already feels like it's going, but I also had like martinis last night, so that's probably something to do with it. So yes, welcome on in, Raiders. If you don't know me, I'm Urban Bohemian, also Herb, also Brian. I'm a variety streamer. Today we are in just chatting because it is almost PAX Unplugged, which means it is almost time for the Rivals of Waterdeep Season 11 finale, which will be live at PAX Unplugged. It's going to be Friday. Like, that's 3 days from now. Wait, 3 days from now. It's going to be like in 3 days and a few hours. Ugh. So I thought I would talk about what it's like doing Rivals, being a DM for the first time. I was writing up entries on my blog, and those kind of fell off the wayside because creative efforts have been hard to hold on to during a pandemic. What it's like to be a DM for the first time, what it's like to co-DM for the first time, maybe some discussion of how we do that part of what we do. No spoilers for Rivals, and I'll do my best to be vague-ish for very key or pivotal moments that have happened in case you're not caught up. And it's also very much a question and answer. Like, if you have questions, that is fine. The only thing I'll kind of put out there as a caveat is that Rivals of Waterdeep is a streamed tabletop show. It is very akin to a television show, so house rules tend to shift from episode to episode or season to season. Things that may have happened around your gaming table may have gone very differently than they would at ours, because in all practicality, we're a 2-hour show. We have about an hour and 40, maybe an hour and 45 minutes after you count intros and starting soon and credits to get through stuff. So sometimes stuff just happens, you know? Like, I think I'll allow it has been like a number one thing. That's, yeah, we'll allow that. Yeah, go ahead. Sure. Because half the time I'm not even sure. so I just say yes to most things. That's how I got into co-DMing in the first place. I just say yes to most things. But thank you for the hype train before I could even get off the ground. What did I get? What is that? A hype pat? Is that a patting head? I think? Is that like a shark being patted on the head? I don't know what that is. Oh, speaking of emotes, because 'tis the season. Steven, thank you for the host. 'Tis the season. I added a new emote. So if you are a subscriber, you may need to refresh your browser or refresh or start and stop the app in mobile. But there is a new emote. I made that from. Yep, there I go. Look at me. Look at it. I took a photo in Okay, this is getting out of hand. I took a photo maybe, I think it was a year ago. In the Santa hat, and it turned out like I was able to kind of cut out the pieces. So that's my first emote that I myself have made, and it's me. And the shades actually do line up kind of good with it, you know. Hold on a second. I did see a question. No worries, because now that Ruby's BRB, let me welcome you in, because a lot of y'all seen this, but I forgot to do the thing because you came in on a raid, and we do that on a raid. So that. There it is.
Welcome, Raiders. We know you have a choice in Twitch streamers, and we thank you for raiding Urban Bohemian. We hope that you'll enjoy your stay and consider following so that we can see you again soon.
I said I knew where the flight thing was, and I lied.
Emotes can be available for your enjoyment by clicking on the subscribe button, and cheers of all amounts are accepted by your friendly streamer. Please adhere to the channel rules and moderator instructions. In the event of a loss of interest, spoilers, or that this stream's content is simply not to your liking, the exit button can be found in the upper right or upper left corner of your screen, and we invite you to peruse one of Twitch's many other offerings. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the stream. We're very happy to have you here.
So yeah, welcome on in. Let's see here. Yes, tiny Santa hats for everyone. I keep remembering we're back in the lobby now. So yeah, that was, yeah, I had a photo, and I actually mentioned it on my Twitter account. Pixlr has a remove background feature, so I used that to remove most of the background, and then I was basically very carefully shaving off like the bottom of my chin and stuff. So in the picture, not anyway. So yeah, I think it works. I may have other photos that I can use. So yeah, if you have something that removes the background, it might be a really great way to turn your own photo into an emote if you so choose. And the reason that is important is because I've also added a new channel redemption, which is 10 minutes of festivity. So if you choose to redeem that channel point redemption, 10 minutes of festivity means that we will get a little more festive on the channel for 10 minutes a pop. There are limited redemptions per stream, and there is a break. There is some downtime between them, but I will do my best to add festivity to the stream for just a little while, because not everybody is really down with the holidays and into the season. So, you know, limit. That shades really does work well with it, doesn't it? It really, really does. And hello, Just Jen. Welcome on in. Let me scroll back up, and King Sundu. Well, hold on. I'll scroll up while I say thank you for that resub as well. Where'd it go? Ah, Literate Bama Girl. There it was. So hold on a second. Goodness gracious, that's a lot of me on screen. That's too much me on screen. It's too much. Oh my gosh. So Literate Bama Girl asked, how do you co-DM with someone who does what? That is a great question. I don't know if I have an answer for you. That is a great question. We essentially tried to figure it out early on in the process. We talked to each other and discussed our strengths, and how we have strengths working with each other. So essentially, oh my gosh, DC, welcome on in, Raiders from DC. Let's share stream. But essentially, I thought that I would mostly be the color commentator. Like, Eugenio is so good with setting a scene and embodying characters. I honestly thought that I would just be interjecting a little bit. I was doing a lot of my writing behind the scenes, so I would help sketch out like scenes and ideas. And it turns out we're really good at over Zoom. I don't know how it's going to be in person because I have never gamed with Eugenio in person. We're really good at noticing those cues between each other, which we developed when playing Kent and Virgil, so that it is like the moment one of us goes, and you can see that we're kind of reaching for our next thing. The other one may see that and jump in. And Virgil! Indeed. May see that and jump in and kind of keep the scene going. And what we've done is we have a document. It's a very large Google document now that details our thoughts for every episode of the season, what we want to do, what happened on the previous episode, and often we can change that. Sometimes we change it during the episode. So if one of us kind of like runs out of things to say, we can go back to the document to be like, okay, let me catch my place, figure out where I was, and keep on going. But it's a lot of give and take, and it is a lot of being willing to grab, like it's like a relay race. Like if somebody throws that baton at you, you got to be willing to grab it. And there have been times when one or the other of us hasn't been terribly creative. Sometimes you're just in an odd mood. So sometimes it has one of us doing all the talking and the other one not, and the other way around. But it feels like we've had a good give and take between the two of us. So in terms of how it works, I would say you really have to communicate and know how you're going to do those handoffs, how you're going to build elements of the story together, and where, if you divert from something, write it down so that you remember. Like if you gave a name to someone, write it down because it's going to come up later. If you gave somebody a fun backstory or a tragic backstory, you gave somebody a spouse or a kid, write it down because I may have done that. He didn't, and he may need to remember that later. So a lot of notes between the two of us. And I do know that for D4, they're in the same room, which I can't even imagine. So PAX is going to be interesting because we have not worked out any kind of hand signals or system of winks and nods or jamming a thumbtack into each other's leg. I don't know what we're going to do, honestly, when we get there. No idea. But welcome on in, DC Lacer, and I figured you were playing Grim Dawn. I was finishing up work and trying to catch up on things and make tea. But let me welcome on those raiders in because we don't have one raid message. We have two and no more because I don't have time to film a third one yet. So welcome on in. Initiating raid message. On behalf of your host, Urban Bohemian, it's all echoey. Accept this automated message welcoming you to the channel. You will find a variety of content here, including but not limited to games, food and drink, chat, and tabletop RPGs, and it is our fondest wish that some or all of it will entice you to follow and perhaps even subscribe to this channel. In accordance with the channel rules, we ask that you be your best selves and understand that the streamer and mods have the final word. Should you find yourself unable to enjoy or engage with the content, we understand if you cannot stay and hope to see you back again some other time. We are very pleased to have you with us, and we hope that you enjoy your stay. Great message ends. Yeah, this is definitely coming to PAX with me. I don't even know if I can get another one. I may have to have them custom made. So yeah, that's really all. There's no plan for game today. It's really just chatting, Q&A, talking about stuff. If anybody has a moment from Rivals they want to talk about this season, if anybody has questions about what it's just like being on streamed games versus not on streamed games, this is mostly just me winding down. I'll probably pull up a tab and start a checklist for PAX. I know people should have seen Tanya's tweet earlier, which has a very good checklist for PAX, if I can find it. Hey, Dimples. Where'd it go? There it went. So Tanya made this tweet earlier, and she made this graphic that has just a good checklist to let people know, like, hey, you're going to a convention. Maybe get your stuff together, make sure you've got everything you need. Where are we? We're back to lobby. Yes. So just give you an idea of like what you might need, things, stuff like that. Let me also keep up my dashboard just in case we have. Okay, just want to check stuff. Nope. Okay, excellent. Do I have a wish list monster that I would love to throw at the rivals? Not really. Because as I've been very clear on, and I've said before, I don't have the length and breadth of knowledge of D&D that I used to when I was much younger. Thank you for the host, Molecule. Oh my gosh. Mandy. Where's the alert? There it is. Mandy, that clip was brilliant. Thank you so much. And thank you for the hosts, everyone. Thank you for doing what Twitch has decided they don't want to do for us anymore. Thank you very much for the resub, Mandy. Thank you for your clips this past Sunday. There probably won't be any disco balls coming with me because I don't know if I can get a hold of them. I don't know if I can get a hold of them beforehand. But yeah, that is a note we have to ourselves to print out a character sheet just in case. So in terms of wishlist monsters, not terribly. I mean, the fact that they are where they are, and they have encountered what they have encountered was already a nice wish list. Because Eugenio did do some contributions to the recent book that came out for D&D, so that was fun. I had some ideas that, sorry, there's birds outside. I had some ideas that can't really be done in a 10 episode season. That were fun. I've mentioned on stream before, like my idea for a mimic, and for mimic like spawn, larvae, etc., masquerading as coins and using that to feed on. That might be fun, but that's really hard unless you're setting up a gag that gets mentioned in every single episode. It's really hard to get that payoff because you might mention it once early on and then you might mention it late in the season, and it would be a bummer because they wouldn't have had a chance to notice or do anything about it. But I like mimics. Mimics are fun. And contrary to belief, I will not be expecting anyone to re-roll a character. I hope. I had to remember that it's like I didn't want to even run a monster against them because, I love playing with these folks. As a DM, I didn't even want to run a monster encounter against them, and Eugenio helped me get over that. And then I had to remember that I was trying to only hurt them and not kill them. So, that was also, I had to kind of pull back, like, maybe. I may have pulled a punch here and there for narrative purposes. Because even my own character sheet, we're level 16 now. My own character sheet, like, scares me a little bit, I'll be honest. It's like the things that characters can do at this level is already approaching godhood. So yeah, I may have pulled a punch a little bit. Maybe. Don't quote me on that. I mean, it may be that also Eugenio and I were passing back notes on my monster has this many HP. My monster has this many HP left. So if they do this, they're definitely going to take it out. Like we were trying to plan for so many things because once the chaos starts, our plans out the window. But that's the fun of having it live and improv, is that we can just kind of control the narrative to whatever still makes sense, but also lets us move on because I mean, combat can take an entire session, which nobody wants. Nobody wants that. Arcturus, thank you for the resub. Welcome on in. French Talk, welcome on in. Hello. So yeah, I would say for us, it is still maybe after the season is over, I will share the Google document. It doesn't have any personal information in it, and I may strip it for anything because we have come up with things that we maybe want to give to the next whoever maybe wants to take the story from there. Assuming that we get another season. So I'll probably have to strip out that info. But yeah, it's been nice building this together. And even it's just fun to work with. Like, we didn't really know how our characters were going to work well together. We had never done anything together prior to Rivals. So even our characters coming in, we just kind of developed this rapport where we're like, all right, if we can be goofy with each other. Oh no. Oh no. Hey, no evidence of that. Rude. Look, when you're sending something with tentacles and mouths on the tentacles after your friend's characters, you maybe feel a little bit bad about it. You maybe do. Okay? Just like a little bit bad. Maybe a little bit bad about it. Because like this monster was gross. Like, this was like a B-Dave level from Into the Motherlands monster. It was not cute. And yeah, they were not. That's the other thing. The rolls weren't going well for them in that first encounter. Every other encounter after that, the dice weren't going well for the DMs. So our dice rolls were pretty crappy for a lot of the encounters after that first one in the forest. Yeah, the dice were like, oh, you thought. I'm like, okay, cool. But yeah, so I think I've said as much on the blog. Yeah, you just show up and clip things. How dare you? I've said as much on my blog, but in general, nope, I had it and I lost it. Not a word. It was there. In general, yeah, like we've kind of just built things out as we go. We had a few big ideas and big concepts that we have woven in to every episode of the season. Phrases that have shown up over and over and over again. And for anyone knows, we did pull something out of the Rivals past. We actually pulled something out of 2 of the Rivals pasts specifically, but all of the Rivals pasts. Am I excited to get to sit at a physical table with folks? Yes, but I have not sat down to play D&D with anyone for decades. So it's going to feel weird. And let me tell you, if you haven't played D&D in a long time and you've never DM'd before, why not take a stab at doing something where the finale of your session is going to be live on stage at a convention in front of, we hope, hundreds of people? So why not, just dive in? Okay, why just, there you go. There's my advice. Just dive on in. What's the worst that can happen? It will. I think somebody said, oh, it was Josh Simmons said, like, to look forward to seeing it live so we can actually, I think the best thing about it will be able to see like what viewers feel in real time. Because we see chat and I'll probably have tea ahead of time, but no cocktails because I have to remember things. You may see me with a stack of notes, like just although the con should have Wi-Fi, but who knows? So I'll probably have a stack of notes. But it will be interesting to be able to get live reactions to what happens. Like, that's wild, And I'm already thinking, like, because of course it's me, so there are always jokes and puns planned, and I'm like, wait, are we gonna have to like build out time for laughter? Then again, we'll have mics and you won't, so it's fine. You're doing your first panels ever. It's gonna be great. I did my first panels ever I think my first panels ever were at PAX or maybe MagFest, but it's great because you're on the panel because you know what you're talking about. And if you don't necessarily in that moment know what you're talking about, you chances are have at least 4 or 5 other people there who do and can step in and help you out. That's the joy of panels. That's true. All the mods won't have to be doing a thing. Like all the mods will just be able to watch and not mod. We won't have a giveaway, you know, so if you want to like hang out, I know we're going to host it. It will be on the PAX channel, but we're also going to host it on the Rivals of Waterdeep channel. So just in case PAX chat is a little too much of a river, y'all can hang out in the Rivals chat and watch it from there, and that's all good. Chances are we will not be monitoring chat. Maybe. I mean, maybe, but chances are we're not going to monitor chat because that's a lot to do. It's already a lot to be live streaming and remembering story stuff, remembering character stuff, and keeping an eye on chat. So I suspect that I probably won't bring like a little tripod for my phone. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. But it's going to be really cool. Like we have not yet gotten together to discuss what our big plan is for the finale, like how we're gonna, like essentially how we're gonna bring everything together and do it there. So I will be very interested to see. Oh god, it's gonna be my first live in-person whoosh. A whole audience. Oh god, that's gonna be so cool. It's gonna be great. I wish do I have time to print out like a whoosh, like my own little whoosh thing? I don't know if I do. Oh goodness, Latia has chosen the whoosh hat. So the whoosh hat has been chosen. We'll probably give them a pointer, just in case. We'll give them a little tip because it's not Rivals ever first live with audience whoosh, but it some people may need a refresher because it's been a while, so they might need a refresher on how to do it in person. I think when I made the supercut of the Rivals whoosh, Sharif was at the convention explaining to the audience how to do the whoosh, and it was great. Oh goodness. So yeah, I like to have checklists. So even if I'm only staying for a few days, I just need to make sure like I have jeans and slacks and undies and socks and shirts, and I'm trying to bring my small suitcase, which means I probably won't be able to bring too many pairs of boots, which is a good thing. Because that's a problem. You always end up bringing large suitcases when you have boots because you need I need to be able to bring all my boots. And personally, like my laptop and mostly just clothes and space for buying stuff. Any foods I'm looking forward to. Anything I don't cook in my own kitchen will be great. We are near, I believe the convention center is near Chinatown. And last time we went to a great dim sum place. I don't know if I'll make it over there. Hey, Looney. We do have a few people chatting about getting together, like a small group getting together for brunch. And then there's also potential. I mean, I'm going to be there Saturday. I'm going to be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and Monday. So there's a potential for me to find a brunch spot and just say, well, I'm going to brunch. Bye. Yes, I saw because Dan's on the Move. Your husband won a badge, and Neuro Fourier, who's on Wookie Cookies, won a badge. Oh, actually, if you are going to PAX, here's a good. Hold on, I know how to tweet. I promise. Neuro did an updated version of the document for traveling and COVID. Neuro is an actual doctor. An actual doctor. Where in the heck? It's here somewhere. I'll find it. Yeah. There we go. So let's see here. I did hear Green Eggs Cafe. I've heard that. And I also have friends, in addition to people I know, I have other people I know who live there, so I'll be taking recommendations. I will probably just be relaxing. And also, I'm not going to lie, I still have concerns about COVID. So there may simply be a lot of me staying in my room and having food brought in. I also know Philadelphia has drizzly, so there may be some of that too. Hey, Springleaf. So really unsure as to, if I'm gonna go there and chow down. And I have to admit, most of my energy will be on Friday night, and then it is hello Neuro. Um, most of my energy is gonna be about Friday night, and then once that's done, I won't even know what to do with myself. I have not looked too closely at the con schedule. I do want to do some shopping. I want to look at some games, and I do have some panels I want to attend. But other than that, Saturday and Sunday are going to just be like days to just goof around. I do want to go see the Miracle on 13th Street while I'm in Philadelphia. Get my Christmas Christmas spirit in. Well, no. See, Looney Neuro is actively in every chat on Twitch at the same time. That's the thing. So Neuro simultaneously exists in all chats all the time. The quantum state of existence kind of thing. But I am looking forward to meeting people in person for the first time. People I've only known online for the past 2 years or so or longer. And I know that yes, it is okay. It is okay to wave and say hi. We will all have masks on, so it's going to be hard to it may be hard to say this is who I am. But everyone will definitely do your best. It's definitely, be aware and be alert of people maybe not being okay about handshakes and hugs and getting in close with each other. But I will do my best to keep an eye out for people saying hi. I don't have a sign with my name on it. The badges don't have our names on them. And I don't yet have a jacket that has Urban Bohemian across the back of it, because that's a lot of letters and printing costs are probably high for that. But yes, it is perfectly okay to wave and say hi. If you just saw me and missed me or tried to say hi, you can tweet at me to let me know. If you're in Discord, you can send me a message there. Because it may be weird for a lot of folks. And especially if everyone's doing what they are supposed to do and staying masked up as they are supposed to do. Yeah, we're going to be I guess I know what you look like from here up. I guess that's where we're going with that. So yeah. It's like the opposite of superheroes. Instead of, it's down here. Get a domino mask, but for your mouth, I guess. No. But yeah, it's going to be glorious. I won't lie, we do have some ideas. And we do have some, because we were it's the first time the Rivals have been live for a while. Both in person, both with each other and with any viewers. I guess audience is, I feel weird about saying audience. I feel weird about using the word fans. I still feel like Twitch terms, so viewers. Since C2E2, goodness. So yeah, we're absolutely going to make sure that we've got something different, we hope. But yeah, we want to come back with a bang. And then, especially because coming back with a bang will help make sure that we actually get renewed for a following season. Because sadly, this is still, sadly but funly, it's still work. It's still work. It's still a job. No, that's fine. The Mischief Silverblade, it's 100% fine. I know based on streaming and based on selfies what a lot of people look like, but I suspect that is inverted. Probably a lot more people would recognize me than I might recognize them, because for a lot of people, I've only ever seen your name in chat. Rivals Con jokes with Virgil and Kent at a con. Oh, that's right. Because Rivals Con, per I think Tanya said, and everyone said, yeah, Rivals Con is still happening. Although, how many days have they been away? I mean, I don't know. Maybe time passes differently in the Frostfell, but it is now canon because it has been mentioned that Rivals Con is still going at the manor. Seriously, the entire the entire season is one weekend. It's a long weekend, you know. You'll be carrying around a sign that says, "Please ask me questions about vaccines." Nice. It's a long con. You bring tents. I mean, from everything I looked up about Troll Skull, it does have accommodations, but I don't know. Will we do a skit of Kent and Virgil at Rivals Con? If we have, if we have creative energy and time and spoons, it is certainly possible that Eugenio and I might be able to get together for like a goofy short of some kind, but it's unlikely because we're probably going to be very busy. Mm. I've missed playing Virgil. I really have. It's been interesting because that was one of the drawbacks of the CodeM thing. While it has been fun, it took 2 characters off the table. So a lot of what we've had to do is only for 4 rivals, which admittedly is excuse me, which admittedly is interesting because it gives everyone else more time to do stuff. But yeah, it's like I kind of miss.
Virgil!
Yeah, I miss them. I miss playing. But yeah, when last we left, Kent was going to get ready for the cosplay competition, and Virgil was staying behind to keep an eye on things. And that's that. And you can imagine if Kent was going to skip out on the carnival for a cosplay contest, he's very, very excited about this cosplay contest. Very excited. But yeah, I look forward to that. And we did make the decision to move our characters off the board as opposed to keeping them as sort of present NPCs, because that would have been a lot to keep up with. Do I find it difficult to not overcommit to things when I'm traveling to stuff like this? I do. I find it very difficult. This time I am forcing myself to not commit to much of anything. I'm forcing myself to basically say I've got 2 events on Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday and Monday, nothing. If something comes up, I'm more happy to play it by ear. There are a few things that are scheduled, but in general, I have not set up any meetings with anyone. I've not set up any meet and greets. Even as the rivals, we've not set up a meet and greet time. So no, this time I'm definitely not really committing, but it can be very overwhelming going to a convention because there's so much to do all the time. Even in the time before masks and before distance and before a pandemic, there's so much to do that it's really hard to keep up. I remember going to C2E2 and it was overwhelming. I ended up needing to go find a place to sit down very often because it was just, there was so much going on. I went to C2E2 and didn't even go to a single panel. Because we were always hanging out or doing stuff or getting some food or whatever. So yeah. Right. And that's not even assuming that maybe you'll want to do some networking. Maybe you'll want to try and meet others in the gaming space. Maybe you'll want to see, press events, or if games are doing demos. There's a lot to do. There's just a lot to do. And the idea that you feel like you've got to get it all in can be a lot. But yeah, my suitcase list is fairly mundane, and then I got to remember I should bring dice because we're not we're not relying on having D&D Beyond, which I feel immensely like, oh no, I need my D&D Beyond. But I'll have to remember my dice, and I do like that it's Friday night. I wish it were another day because I'm getting in on Friday, but I'm glad it is Friday night because it feels like we are a bit of the, opening night event. I don't really, I mean, like we're on the main theater opening night. So yeah. It'd be interesting if it were closer to our usual time because that would then be more normal for us. But because, you're scheduling a whole lot of stuff. It's also really cool. Like it's cool that we get to do it at all at PAX. And all of us had planned, we'd all put together we were all planning on like attending regardless, but the fact that we were able to propose and submit Rivals finale there made it a lot more fun. Yeah, I people have sent me things that they're interested in seeing, and I tend to sometimes be a tag along person. Like if I'm hanging out with one or two people, I'm like, well, yeah, I can go to a panel with you, or maybe I'll sit outside, or maybe I'll go for fresh air, or go find some tea somewhere. Not sure, but yeah, I haven't really seen anything major. And I did sign up for a media badge, which means that every single vendor is sending me an email about their game and do I want to come by when they're doing a play test, and that has gotten a little bit overwhelming. I won't lie. Because yeah, there's going to be a lot, but I'm also looking forward to shopping. I probably won't buy new dice, he said foolishly. I wouldn't mind buying a game or two, but I also don't have tons of room in my suitcase. I'm taking the train, so I have a little bit of flexibility, but I don't have tons of room to bring back tons of things. So I mean, look, I don't need new dice. I really, really don't. I have so many things. Yeah, that's the other problem is I have no problem. I have no problem buying something on travel and going to like a UPS or a FedEx place and saying, okay, just ship it home, just send it. One time, the hotel we were staying in had a shipping thing in the lobby, and it was great because I just our last day there, I just said, okay, I need a box, send it home for me. Everybody apparently, wow, everyone does not, yeah, everyone, wow. Apparently, new dice are a thing. That's what happens. Okay. Chat, you are full of enablers. That's right. Then again, is it really, I mean, they're just so pretty. Shiny, shiny math rocks are so pretty. Hmm. But let me see here. Let me pull up Tanya's little checklist here. All the dice. Let's see here. So yeah, vaccination card, paper, and app. They're using Clear. They're using Clear for your vaccination proof, but I'm probably still gonna have mine on me. Hand sanitizer, water bottle, comfortable shoes. Well, comfortable and stylish shoes. It's possible for them to be both. Soap, comma deodorant kind of cracks me up. Because I know that there is the. I mean, I know that there is the stereotype of going to conventions and people smelling. But yeah. Let's see here. Charging brick and cables. I probably won't have time to buy an external battery, so I'll probably make do with what I've got. Snacks. I typically have granola bars on me. Extra masks. That won't be a problem. Lanyard. Great. Schedule. My meds. I do have the little thing with the daily AM PM, so I'll be doing that. Dice. Sure, and if I don't have dice, I'm sure there'll be plenty of places to buy dice. A map of the convention center, pen and notebook, and emergency cash. Yeah, those are all standard for me. Yeah, I will definitely probably be flush with granola bars. if people eat granola and are able, like, if people are able to eat granola, and I'm like, they're probably coming from the store type granola, you can probably hit me up and I will have a granola bar or two. Mm. Hello, welcome on in Art for the Apocalypse. So yeah, in terms of things to do, like I've got laundry to do. Didn't check the weather in Philadelphia because I think we're gonna have cold during the week and then warm during the weekend. Well, warmer. Saturday is gonna be a high of 69. Nice. So Saturday is gonna be a warmer day. Huh. Probably not getting snow. Maybe I think snow is potential for both Philadelphia and where I am in DC Wednesday. They said if at all, we might get some on Wednesday. And let's see here. I think if I remember correctly, where we were is also where they do sort of a Christmas. I don't know if it's a shop or there was a roller coaster. Hey, ass. It wasn't a roller coaster, like a kind of a thing. There was like a whole Christmassy thing set up on the street. So that would be nice to see. Because it's been hard to find the Christmas spirit this year. I'd love to feel like I had more Christmas spirit, but I don't. So, eh. Let's see here. Oh, speaking of the Christmas spirit, I guess we can. Yes, Christmas Village at City Hall, which we have a Christmas shopping village here, but we don't have like a Christmas village. Although we apparently downtown have an ice maze now. We have an ice maze downtown, I think, which I'm gonna try and go take pictures of when I come back. I did go see the National Tree, so that was nice. And I haven't, I haven't been out to restaurants to see them all decorated for stuff. And yeah, an ice maze actually sounds terrifying to me. I've seen The Shining one too many times. I ain't getting a no frozen maze. Nope. Because I think the blocks of ice are also like, what they've tried to do is have transparent ones, which is like, nope. That's even weirder. No. No. Oh, ice skate. I do miss ice skating. That's something that we sometimes do. Uh-oh. Well, 10 minutes of festivity has been redeemed, so let's see if I can do this. I forgot if I can put the hat. I can't put the Santa hat. I can't put it on over the headset, so hold on a second. Let's do that. Whoa. All right. Oh, this is not going to work, is it? Oh, maybe. Okay, there's that. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. Okay. And 10 minutes of festivity going on right now. Look, it's little knees. Oh gosh. Okay. So one of the reindeer is not doing so well. Hold on. Screw it. It's fine. So yes. And yeah, I'm adding this during the holidays because not everybody vibes with Christmas. So wow, you're really making that emote wall do the most, aren't you? Goodness gracious. Sorry, wait. Not everybody's super down with Christmas and the holidays and stuff like that. So it is a 10 minutes of festivity that can be redeemed throughout the stream, and there's a 15-minute cooldown after each one. So it's nice to have an option, but I may not fully go over to a full Christmas layout until later in December. I just realized, like, I'll get back from PAX, and it'll be like 20 days till like, yeah, just over 10 days to Chris. Good Lord. 2021. I was about to say 2020 because that's where my brain was. 2021 is almost gone. It is almost gone. Hold on a second. I can't get my headset on right. There we go. Yeah, it's all good. Where's the thing? All right. Where's my other antler? Wait, come here. Come here. Ah. There we are. There it is. I don't. Okay. Okay. Ah. Well, the fun thing is, I that's why I was also really happy to do the drink for Critical Role because it's non-alcoholic, and I have had batches of that. I have had batches of non-alcoholic cocktails in my fridge that I just like stir up and pour up and add like ginger ale to, and it's been really nice. I had a friend visiting who does not drink, so it was very nice to make them this, which is a little more. No, the show's coming out early next year, so I don't know what early next year means. So we're probably looking at like for Q1 maybe, but we'll see. Plus, production times right now in a pandemic are always a little bit. Aha, February 2022. So just a few months. Nice. Now we just need somebody with animated series money to talk to the rivals of Waterdeep. Because it takes a lot of money for that to happen. A lot. I can't remember if it was million or billion. Yeah, they did a Kickstarter and they raised like over $11 million. So, yeah. They raised a lot of money to make theirs happen. Alrighty. But it's very, it's cool and it shows what can happen in this space, for tabletop streamed RPGs and um yeah. We don't know people like that yet. Maybe, who knows. But still, it's one of those, it's a nice thing to say like if this is a space that you want to get into gaming wise, and especially during the pandemic, since live entertainment has absolutely suffered, it's been a nice way for people to kind of get that creative outlet that they need, improv, acting wise, and to keep their face out there. Although I really hope that live theater, I hope live theater events are able to come back far more. But in the Rivals chat, we talked about networking at PAX and what that's even like. And, again, that's just finding other people who do shows or, perhaps companies that might want to work with you. Yeah, I mean, DC has been very, very quiet. Our biggest thing was, again, it's not a small cast, but they're doing it kind of virtually. And then they were doing it for a while in person, and then they went back to doing it virtually. So, yeah. Well, there's no accounting for taste or what they can get access to. So, yeah. I didn't come here to muse about the pandemic. I came here to talk about Rivals Waterdeep and Season 11 and DMing and I don't know if you are a viewer who's caught up. Do you have a favorite moment from the season so far? I'm not being egotistical about that because we didn't actually make most of the moment. Like, we just I realize that is sort of fishing for compliments, but it's not meant to be that. I just was like, let's bring the conversation back around. I will start. As a co-DM, I have thoroughly appreciated the player's willingness to walk headlong into danger without any reservation, forethought, or preparation. Just there's the danger part. Let's go to the danger part. Great. Thank you. And I will say, like, we have the fortune that everybody who is in the cast has been in the DM's role. So as a player, you sometimes understand when you shouldn't spend too long debating a plan of action. You shouldn't spend too long debating a plan of action because the DM is like sweating behind their brows, like, okay, okay. Lore-wise, Gosrick's backstory. We did have fun with that because, so interestingly enough, in Mighty Mur, thank you very much for the resub. In season 10, Masood did a really good job talking to everybody, finding out elements of their backstories, and weaving it all into a really nice tale. But of course, because Masood was playing, he left Gosrick out. So at the very least, Eugenio and I wanted to make sure that we said, okay, but let's talk about Gosrick for a minute. And maybe let's see what Gosrick's past is and let his past come back to not haunt, but let him confront that. So that was really nice for us to do. Rivals Con, I've already said Rivals Con was like it was one of the earliest things that I sent to Eugenio that I wanted to do. And I thought it was going to be a throwaway gag that after, essentially it was a means to get them out. The entire purpose of Rivals Con was to get them out of Troll Skull Manor, to put something there that would be so unbelievably uncomfortable, there's no way they'd want to stay. And I really thought it was going to be a throwaway line, but the way that the timing happens of the episode, it ended up being a bigger part of it, which was also fun because it's like, oh, that thing I wrote, we get to spend more time on it. Yay. The moment with Tyr was nice. That was mostly completely out of my butt. Like that was just improv between me and Tanya. And I came up with that. I really wanted to come up with something for every letter, and I ran out of time. So I came up with coterie of notables, and that was like all I had. But yeah, I love the way that we started because we decided to skip ahead in time. As anyone who watched the first episode might have noticed, because Gosrick was back. So we actually skipped a year ahead, and we talked with everyone about what they did during the year. And yeah, we'd already asked everybody questions. Like we had sent them emails ahead of time to say, what have you done during the downtime? And what do you, essentially some establishing questions to help us write what we're going to write. And so it was nice to be able to say, okay. And it led to some really fun RP moments and some establishing story. Oh, sorry. Festivities are over. No more festiveness for a while. I can go back to early novel Scrooge as opposed to late novel Scrooge. Or early story Grinch as opposed to late story Grinch. Whatever. Ooh, hold on. Now my headset's not quite right. I better leave it because somebody's going to redeem it in 15 minutes anyway. It had... I will say I did not realize how much I would lean into puns as a DM, and I should have known better. I really should have known better. I wasn't quite expecting how much I leaned into that. Yeah, that was a lot. But yeah, hey Tanya. How is it going? Oh, wait, here's your Uno game, didn't you? I hope you're all still friends. And yeah, and the moment, like Tanya and I I think we weren't, Eugenio and I don't really draw straws, but we did look at what everybody wanted to do. And we said, okay, do you want to handle this scene? Do you want to handle that scene? And I was still very nervous, so I know I can see myself in that first episode taking up a lot of time because I was trying to figure out what to say and how to improv things. And so, I had the scene with Gosrick, then Eugenio had the scene with with Tahani, and he had the one with Shaka, and then I had the one with Celise. And they were, we kind of had just beats and notes. And that's what made me realize that next time going in, I needed more behind the scenes notes for me to keep up with what I wanted to do and what I wanted to say and interject into stuff. Because flying by the seat of your pants is great, but you have to remember everything you do because it's now canon. So, oops. But yeah, that was a very fun moment of improv between myself and Tanya. I mean, honestly, Celise and Virgil had another moment that was just a kind of like that. Now that Tanya's here, I can embarrass her. We had a moment early on where Celise and Virgil just kind of sat down, and Celise said, "Virgil, I'm glad you're here," and I kind of had a moment because it was in character, but also maybe not in character about being part of Rivals of Waterdeep. So that's all. And now somebody else say something because I'm gonna cry. So there. I am scrolling through the chat looking for a distraction. Haha. Yeah, the dad jokes, the puns, it's weird. It's just and when it's also just nice to get that quick laugh, because also making everybody laugh for a second gives me that moment to remember where I was and what I was going to do. So that's the puns of just like, yeah. But that combat in the forest was my first time running a monster encounter. And as I said, the monster that I chose to run actually kind of scared me a little bit. I hadn't intended for the monster to get super engaged in combat. My big concept with a lot of D&D is that I don't particularly like combat that much. So I often create in my head characters that either hadn't planned on fighting or hadn't, like, they're either they didn't expect to be the one that had to be there and fight. Like, they expected to be the supervisor. They expected it to go really easily and really smoothly. They did not expect to have to actually get their hands dirty, because that's for peons. That's not for them. And then, as I said earlier, remembering to hurt them but not try to kill them. Exactly. And yeah, the dice were not on anyone's side for that combat at all. Because I think Eugenio made note of it this past episode where he said, yeah, so the rest of the season is all in initiative. We're going to move in 6-second increments. And I'm like, please, no. Please, please, no. Okay. Just go ball. Stop it. It's feeling affectionate, apparently. All right, I give up. It's going to stay there now. It's like, sadly, when I have a dog, they'll do the same thing. They just keep like nuzzling up until they can get up in there. But yeah, the dice chose chaos, and yeah, thankfully I didn't end up killing people because, as mentioned, there were only four active player characters, and in some cases they weren't, like, the players weren't all able to make it for an episode. So we had planned an episode to have 4 rivals dealing with the fight in the forest, and we had 2, and that's where we're like, okay, we're going to scale this way down. Because the point is not to kill them. The point is for them to defeat, get intrigued, and find a clue. So, the Witchlight Carnival was fun. It was nice to have like a lot of the stuff already written ahead, like to be able to go from like the pre-written source material and spin our own version of it into the adventure. And that was also something that we had to level up, because the Witchlight Carnival adventure is pre-written, is meant for lower level characters. So a lot of the challenges they had in the games would have been a breeze because they were all very low skill checks. So we basically kept adding numbers to skill checks to make them a little more difficult, but still achievable. And I think everybody except Shaka did well. And then Shaka, like, Sharif had the brilliant improv of just like, yeah, no, I totally won something that I found in my pockets. I love it. The wings. The wings at the carnival? I mean, having to get everyone to wear. Oh, like when they get to the carnival and Nicola. Yes, right. That was me almost forgetting. I was leaning a little too hard into playing the ticket giver person that I completely almost forgot that they have to have wings on inside the carnival grounds. Otherwise, it's you'll have to read the supplement yourself. But if you're in the Witchlight Carnival, you have to be wearing butterfly wings. Um, but yeah, we would look at the encounters and we would say, okay, well, you know, and even just normal things like when they were in the caldera, there was a mini chase scene, and we looked at the rules for chases and urban chases, and then we looked at them and we said, you know what, we're going to add a 10 to this, we're going to add 5 to that, just because otherwise these difficulty checks would have been like, well, it's a con save and they have to beat 10, or a dexterity save and they have to beat a 12, and it's like, these are rivals, they're at level 16, that's not going to be a problem for most of them. So we did make it a little bit harder. And so that's something to keep in mind if you are playing with higher level characters than the adventurer may be prepared for. The contents of the adventure are great, but those challenges probably need to be raised a little bit higher than you think. Yep, so at least just swing the wings over. Like, yeah, I mean, it'd be like wearing a backpack to a festival and just putting the wings on the backpack. It's perfect. I always keep trying to like picture Celise now in my head, as Tanya has her, who's like, a tall human woman, but now with a sword and the shield and a bow, and now an animal companion, and I'm like, it's a very badass image of Celise. You don't get the fuck out there. There we go. Very badass image of Celise now in Rivals, and I'm not always good at envisioning my characters, like what they look like, what they wear, what they do. So the next time I make a new character, I'm gonna have to like do that whole asking them questions and thinking about motivations, because it helps to get into the mind of things. And again, for most of our characters, most of the characters for the carnival were already written, so we just kind of picked the personalities and went with it. Then anything else that we wrote or characters we made up on the fly, we just decided. We did decide names for some of them ahead of time. There's nobody that we just made up on the fly. No, that's not true. We did make up the guards in the marketplace on the fly. And that was me and Eugenio sending back Slack messages back and forth. And the best thing is when we're both kind of like ... and you just see one or the other of us say, no, I've got something for this. And then the other's like, great, go. And but in general, yeah, every character we've created, we give a name ahead of time. We give their species, their class, all of that. We do try, and it's interesting. I think we did a mix of characters introducing themselves, and sometimes the rivals asking a character their name, and that is something that from all of my watching of stream shows and watching videos, it always is very 50-50 if the DM just has someone talking to you as to whether you'll ever even find out their name. And I remember that specifically because last season, Masood was he was very proud of the names he'd given characters. And he even mentioned once, he was like, none of you even asked this person's name. And we're like, oh, okay, I see. Okay, yep. You've been giving them some names. I also suspect because I went outside for longer periods of time in colder weather and late fall weather that I have a bit of allergy going on, so my throat feels scratchy. Well, I found in the back of, I think it's Xanathar's Guide to Everything or something, there are tables. There are basically random tables for names of every species. Um every species out there, to just basically be like, okay, that's now you can roll a dice and you get a first name and you get a surname and that's it and you're good. So that's what we did with some of them, and then we looked at them and we're like, actually that's just too silly. We're going to come up with our own. I had a few name random generators going on, and I can't, let's see, we came up with Zune in the first episode. We didn't give any names to the people who came for RivalsCon. We did not give them any names. And then Travik and Orla, who they've met in the Caldera. Hirathok, who they've met in the Caldera. No one else has had really names since. Like, no one. Except the people who were named in the Witchlight Carnival supplement. They were also named, but yeah. Zune, see, in my head, Zune started with an X, but I realized that the captions probably said Zune, and also if I didn't say that's Zune with an X, everybody in chat was making Zune jokes, so I was like, yeah, let's run with it. Zune. Sure. Ah, poor Zune. Poor Microsoft. They tried. They tried so hard. Hmm. Hold on, let me just double check. No, everything's fine. Oh, okay, I was checking on Hey, Hoopa Juba. Well, I mean, it's Microsoft. They probably didn't feel like they had to try. You know, like, we got this. No, you don't. Ah, the old days of MP3 players and LimeWire and Napster. Ah, so many untagged MP3s. Like, I still have folders full of MP3s that the names make no sense, and I refuse to listen to each and every one of them to try and figure out what it is. So now I need an internal Shazam that it doesn't need to hear the track, it needs to have its own internal player and can identify from just a list of MP3s, because I don't feel like listening to all of them myself. No album art, no nothing, just And I remember I would meticulously name mine, like it would be a folder, it would be in a folder by the artist, then a subfolder by the album, then it would be like the track number and the title. And then if it was a compilation, it would be the track number, the title, the artist. Ugh. And I'd make sure to tag everyone. I had like an app that would use my naming convention to tag things, and and then yeah, I ended up once I got streaming networks, I was like, well, never mind. The only time I probably buy an album now is when I know that their contract is gonna run out. Same Planetary Fan. I guarantee you, like listening to mine, you would have to know, like, to take an example, it would be a Britney Spears song, but you'd need to know that it was like the Thunderpuss Club Edit extended mix, as opposed to the radio mix, or as opposed to just the club mix, or then it'd be the instrumental, and then the acapella, and then the beat apella, and then the clap apella, and I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna know which one this is. Okay, there's no way I'm gonna know which one this is. Hello, welcome on in. We have another raid coming in. Goodness gracious. Hello. I think I can do this.
Welcome, Raiders. We know you have a choice in Twitch streamers, and we thank you for raiding Urban Bohemian. We hope that you'll enjoy your stay and consider following so that we can see you again soon. Emotes can be made available for your enjoyment by clicking on the subscribe button, and cheers of all amounts are accepted by your friendly streamer. Please adhere to the channel rules and moderator instructions. In the event of a loss of interest, spoilers, or that the stream's content is simply not to your liking, the exit button can be found in the upper right or upper
Like
left
way
corner
over
of the
there
screen,
and way over
we
there,
invite
but
you
yeah.
to peruse one of Twitch's many other offerings. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the stream. We're very happy to have you here.
Hey. But yeah, welcome in. We are really just having just chatting, which I haven't done in a while. And we've been talking about Rivals of Waterdeep, co-DMing, PAX Unplugged coming up this weekend, what it's been like. People were sharing their moments from the season, which makes me very happy because and I know, like, I'm not alone in saying we worked hard, but I know that everyone who has sat in the DM chair for Rivals of Waterdeep has worked very hard to put together a story that is fun and that is like consumable. You know, the way it spills out. I remember. Oop, no worries, Tanya. I was gonna call out Tanya, so now I can again. When she did oh, I think it worked. Unbelievable Ginger. Is it counting a raid as a host or a host as a raid? In any case, there was a stream where she had her DM document for Rivals open and was making notes, and that encouraged me to keep my own notes. Hindsight being 2020, is there anything I'd do differently looking back at stuff? Huh. That's a good question. I think I would probably... I might have rehearsed a few more things ahead of time because I am not good at, for an example, when they're in the Lednic Caldera and they go to the Druids Enclave, like I had helped determine I had helped in our document write what things look like, how the thing was built up, how the walls of ice worked, how it was here with a crevasse, and I helped sketch all that out. And then Eugenio, off the top of his head, is, he is talking about like how it's built, and you have plants over here, and they're like hardy winter plants, and this and that. I couldn't do that to save my life. Now, if I had written it ahead of time, I could have made it up from a paragraph. And you may see me in Rivals doing this a lot or that. It's because I'm looking at the document that we have up, or I'm looking at chat. So if I'd written a whole lot more narrative, I would have been able to pluck from it. But so that's the kind of thing that I'm not able to spin off the top of my head. Another fun thing that I discovered is just to say, instead of trying to, because, you have multiple people and maybe it's time for them to basically form a plan and go, or go to bed, or not do anything else the rest of the day. How to interject that, so y'all done? Like, no one takes any other actions? Because I have to just have that confirmation before I move forward with whatever the next thing is. Yeah, so I would probably work on being able to spin descriptions for things off the top of my head as opposed to having to have them all detailed written down. Or I'd probably just write them a little bit more flowery ahead of time so that I had it more in my head. But yeah, I think my ability to spin out stuff is not that great. And Eugenio is not allowed to watch this because he will give me grief for even saying anything I do isn't good. But I think that's it. You use movie scenes. Yeah, like I think I used to actually describe Virgil's stuff like I was describing a movie. But dang it. You were supposed to be in the other foyer. Dang it. No. Betrayal. Perfidy. Nah. Watch Rivals of Waterdeep Sundays, twitch.tv/Rivals Waterdeep. Or catch up with us on YouTube. Episode 9 will be up later this week. And we do plan to, as I said, when we will be live on the Twitch channel for PAX, we will very likely be hosting it on Rivals of Waterdeep if you want to hang out in that chat, because PAX may be like PAX chat may be a little bit hicky and hectic. And our plan is to grab our show, and our plan is to be able to do a rerun of it on Sunday. So just in case anyone is unaware and comes to our channel at our regular time, you should be able to see it. I think reruns on Twitch are a little weird, and I wish that Twitch did a lot more to let people know it's a rerun. Like, I almost wish that they had, like on Twitch's end, they had some kind of watermark that would maybe move around the screen, because I've definitely tried to do a rerun, and then I'm watching my chat from another window, and people are actively chatting, and I'm like, it's a rerun. It's not live, it's a rerun. So I think Twitch could do a better job letting people know when you're running a rerun. But in any case. And to that, I feel like we have a really good trust in each other and trust in our players. But Eugenio and I have a really good trust in each other that we're not going to talk the other one into a corner. And we will generally, if somebody goes, we will always yes and we will go along with it. So, like the scene with the guards in the marketplace is a really good idea. I don't do accents, so I figured let me just do the worst accents I can and get them out of my system. So I started doing like the stereotypical Fargo accent on one of the guards, because I was like, well, it's like Fargo, okay. And then Eugenio started with a bit of a southern accent, and then turned it back into like so it was two Fargo like guards in the Caldera having to deal with Gosrick's games. And yeah, like just knowing that like if you go down this path, like I'm gonna go down this path with you. Let's go. And then knowing the players are gonna lean into it. And for me, that's the best. It's like we're still moving the story along, but we are all having fun and laughing, and like, you're like cracking up out of character, and then when you have to say a thing, you're like right back in character and saying it, and then you're out and you're cracking up again. Too Fargo, too furious. Well, but yeah, I do know that if I don't know what I'm going to say, I take longer to put it together, which when you have about an hour and 45 minutes, give or take, to run an episode, it can be like, that's what worries me, is the clock. Like, I am constantly focused on what time it is and then what we want to do. So, I would say, I can tell you for the past few episodes, we had an element that we were going to inject that would that would do the point A to point B thing. And the way things played out, we didn't have to use it. But we also kept looking at the time, like, we don't have time for this, so we'll get to it another way. And this is also luckily that, everybody playing was doing enough, like they're doing enough in character adventuring for us to be like, okay, we actually don't need that piece. So it just lives in the document, and maybe that character will show up somewhere else at some point. So I'm always very concerned about time. And yeah, I mean, you say that, Steven, and then I know Mandy took a clip yesterday when they were trying to open the door that I just lost it, and I could not keep it back together at all, and I regret nothing. I regret absolutely nothing. Like, I will say that was my first time putting a puzzle of sorts into an adventure, and it is the most interesting thing to say. This is pretty easy. They'll figure it out. They will not. Oh no, they will not. Oh, I legitimately thought that we're like, okay, that's it. They're just, no, we're never getting through this door ever. But the thing is, the way they were working through it was so great. Like they're like, okay, and yeah, okay, yep. Um, and I mean, I remember when Masood gave us the puzzle that was, again, it was a basic puzzle, but we just actually had to like start right. We had to make notes about it to make sure we didn't like redo anything. Um, but yeah, the point of the MacGuffin in the episode, in my mind, was that the thing to open the door was so painfully obvious, which turns out it wasn't, because the dice failed to make it as obvious as I wanted it to be. Um, and then the thing was so painfully obvious that it's like it's almost too obviously the way to open this door. Therefore, there's probably something wrong. And at least they did solve the puzzle per se. But yeah, I was like, I think I made it. And there was a moment of back and forth, and not panic exactly, but there was a moment in the DMs between Eugenio and me, like, did we make this too tough? Like, or should we, like, what? Um so again, thinking on the fly, like, the characters were taking actions that were close to what we wanted them to do the solution. So I was like, great, I can work with this. And it was fine. Because it's like, we really need to get you through this door. Like, y'all gotta go. Like, like, y'all gotta go. Oh gosh. I don't know. The end of season 11 is basically a flashback to, and it flashes back to underneath Candlekeep, and just the rivals are getting out of cocoons and they've been there the whole time. No, that's not it. Or maybe Bobby Ewing is in the shower and it's all been a dream. I don't know. I also will say props to Latia for even coming up with combat that had us facing off against ourselves, because I thought about doing that and I was terrified. Am I looking forward to DMing more games in the future? I don't know. After this, I maybe could, but I am still working through my own strengths and weaknesses to be able to do it consistently, so that there would not be those moments. However, this has taught me so much in terms of when planning and conceiving an adventure, what you do need to write versus what you don't, and what you'll be able to, essentially what the players will fill in for you. And it also lets me know, like, okay, I need to have a backup just in case, because there are a lot of things that the rivals in this season did not approach the way that we had planned for them to do at all. And that's fine. Um, you know. Oh, another thing, if I going back, I would have asked your 2020 hindsight, I would have remembered to have characters do do checks to notice things, because I think I ended up like stepping over some things that I'd written because I forgot to say, by the way, everybody check to see if you even detect this thing. And it's fine because it was a piece that didn't, eventually the piece doesn't need and we can throw it away. Let's see here. As the best way to put amnesia memory mapping spells into a game, have someone draw a picture. That's interesting. That is an interesting thing. And it reminds me of, I think Star Trek has used that, and other things have used that, where all of a sudden, like, there's one extra person there that everyone seems to know, and all of a sudden the viewers are like, who is this person? But everybody else seems to know who they are. Yeah. Yeah, like all of a sudden it's like, wait, what? So yeah. Welcome back, Tanya. Let's see. So yeah, I wouldn't be averse to DMing again. I will say that, yeah. the way our show goes, we end up being more narrative based than dice based. You just want to tell, right? I just want to tell you. And some things we did just say, you notice, like you notice this, you notice that, you feel this, you see that, because it was like there is no point in making you roll for this because I just want to say it. Like I just want to tell people, like, man, oh god, we're the Sentry. The Sentry gets a whole thing, and the Blue Marvel gets like nothing. Screw you, Marvel. But yes, that's how they did the Sentry. That the Sentry, the character, the Sentry was essentially wiped out of everyone's memories in Marvel Comics, except he wasn't exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing is to realize like you whew, that's a little spicy up in here. Let's see here. So yeah, I might be ready to do some DMing. There's some fluff in here. Sorry about that. I might be ready to do some DMing in the future, but I would love to do another co-DM situation. And now, and you know, it is nothing new. Like we didn't pioneer this. It's definitely been done by other people. But I wouldn't mind doing it again. But now knowing the strengths and weaknesses and knowing that it is not like a pickup game. Like you can't just do it with anyone unless you are purposely trying to do, what do they call it? What do they call it? Like a poetry slam? Like if you're absolutely trying to do like who can build off of the bigger story, maybe. It also made me think of a fun activity, and I guess this could also be a panel of essentially getting DMs and people who had done like co-DMing or collaborative DMing to come up with like a small adventure, mostly on the fly, working all together kind of thing. Writing down, not actually running, because that's a whole other thing. But yeah, like if I had to sit down and say, okay, because let me see if there's something that I can show you from the document. Okay, let's see here. Because there's a lot that I don't want to show and a lot that'll ruin stuff. It won't ruin anything because we're not at the next. We haven't written for the next bit too much yet. But let me see if I can find. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to pull this into another document and see if I can show you that one. I didn't want to do that. Sorry, hold on. See, yeah, I know you and Red do that. Okay. Let me see here. Can I... what's the best way to do this for me? Let's go over here. Yes. And I need a browser. There we go. Okay, so this was me writing for yeah, that's fine. This was me writing for RivalsCon, and the Coterie of Notables came out at the last minute because I tried something for all the letters and it didn't really work. But this was me very early on saying what I kind of want to do, and sending it to Eugenio to be like, okay, this is kind of what I want to do for RivalsCon. And I wrote all of this up, and I felt like I wrote too much, but then we ended up using it. But yeah, I was like, okay, I had a background, I had a premise, I had some plot hooks. You know, my main thing was like, it's happening and it can't be avoided. So like, they can't just, they can't really interact with it because I didn't want to have like 3 episodes of a convention because we're already going to real conventions, and that's um let's see here. Essentially little pieces for everybody. Um, that it's respectful, that nobody in the crowd's an adventurer. Um, there's a perception check to make sure like that somebody's actually one of them or a really good cosplayer. And let's see here. And we said for whatever reason Kent and Virgil stay behind, and we kind of came up with that on the fly. Like we were like, cosplay contest, perfect, yay. We had not written out. We had written a few panels because we realized we actually now need to flesh this out. But this was the earliest version of this document before we had to write stuff for content. And yeah, I mean, it worked out really well. And the whole point was to get to the end of it where, okay, at the end of it, they will, hold on a second. That's bothering me. At the end of it, they're going to leave. So this is their out. Their out is they get tickets to the Witchlight Carnivals from someone or somewhere. And that's it. And yeah, that's what I kind of pulled together for a thing. And I completely forgot about the MFTs as well. Like I was like, dang it, we had a whole thing about that. But then, but then it sort of took off because, all right, hold on, that. Oh, wait a second. Back to the lobby. There we go. It worked out well because we ended up, turning it into a bigger gag. Tanya as Celise kind of rattled off some panels, so we were like, all right, I guess we come up with other things that are happening during the day. And it worked out. That's probably how I would arrange my thoughts again if I were like, okay, let's write an adventure and see where it goes. But I definitely do more research. I would make sure I was varying it because I'm very bad at remembering like, oh, you need to actually create characters that are NPCs that have information. You can't just do everything by everybody getting like letters, which I guess you can, which would be interesting, but also weird. So yeah, in terms of DMing in future, I don't know. Nothing in my head says, oh, we're absolutely going to run an adventure again in the future yet. But I'm definitely like, I don't know. No NPCs, only letters. Only missives delivered by carrier birds. Just, that's it. Psychic projections? Could be. Skywriting, like just like there are balloons that are carrying the messages across the sky for them. Was that early Fallout 76? I did not play Fallout 76. That's hilarious. But let's see. I'm going to do a quick BRB because I've had a lot of tea and water and need to have a quick bio break. So I'm going to do that. And I will be back in a second. Everyone sit tight, hang out, enjoy, and see you in a sec. Okay, and I'm back. You're still here, I hope. I hope this has been, I don't know, somewhat entertaining at least, or I don't know about educational. That seems weird. Um, but yeah, I definitely have some nerves approaching. All right, just getting everything going. I definitely have some nerves approaching Friday because it's a big deal. Like, it's, oh gosh. I am proud of my making that emote, but it still feels weird to look at me looking back at me. Um, but I am nervous about Friday because it's it's going to be the first time we're all together live, and yet I trust Eugenio, I trust Latia, Masood, Sharif, and Tanya, and I trust the viewers and the audience to make it a good and fun experience. Um, I, you know, it's like, and also like we left them on a pretty good cliffhanger, so you know what they're going to be going into in the final episode. They even started making some preparations, which I'm like, yes, yes, you can try. Um, so yeah, oh, I was proud. I was proud of fading to black because I'm also Eugenio's so good at like doing the cliffhanger thing, like, and that's where we're gonna end it because like you get the face like ah. I loved when Latia said about traffic, like, oh, now we have to care about them. It was so good. Make sure you give your NPCs just a tiny bit of depth. Not like a lot of depth, but just a tiny bit of depth. Um, Having an animal companion, having an always on animal companion and out was interesting because we were able to use Fenris in ways to move things along or to call out things or to notice things. And lean into the fact that, you know, Fenris is a wolf. Hey, thank you for the follow. Welcome on in. Um, I really enjoyed like outfitting Fenris for Dahani to basically like use as a mount. Do you find that players plan for things you never had any intention of doing, but then just kind of lean into that anyway? Yeah. Yeah. To go back to putting a convention in Troll Skull Manor, I thought they would just want to get the heck out. We thought for sure they're going to hear about this, find out they don't have to be there, and leave. And then when there was a little bit of interest, we were like, oh, okay, then I think that we will say one of the rivals has to give a speech, since they seemed intrigued. But otherwise, we had planned for that to be just a thing that sat around and they were like, yeah, we're not doing that, and leaving. So we absolutely lean into it because I feel like it's more fun if we go along with what the players have thought and mentioned, unless it absolutely destroys our idea. It's a lot more fun if we go along with what the players have because then they're more into it as opposed to the DM just shutting it down, which I know there are some tweet conversations about DMs and how they do things. And I always feel like, the DM is as much of as the DM is as much a part of the game as the players. So a DM doing things with an iron fist can't be fun for anyone. So yeah, anytime they had an idea, there are actually a lot of times when the players in character had ideas and plans, and we're like, okay, this is not what we intended for you to do at all, but okay. And there are moments where I, in my notes, said, however they figure out how to proceed, it ends up in this result. So there are times when, yeah, you get frustrated when you plan a thing and it's never any exploit. That, I have to admit, some of those things might sneakily find their way back in. If there was something that I really, really wanted to get into, it may get like it's like the needle on a record, like we may come back to that at another time, like just because. But there are things where I just said, I just put in brackets like however the rivals proceed, And in some cases, it was no matter how they proceed, they're going to get to this next point. But that didn't mean like they couldn't have avoided, like they eventually they're going to get here because we needed them to get to a certain point to continue the story. But the way they got there was totally up to them. Um, for instance, the person who was spying on them, they could have noticed it. They could have left it alone. Oh, no worries, Mandy. Welcome back. They could have noticed it. They could have left him alone. They could have followed him. They could have done a whole lot of things, and it turned out to be a hilarious encounter because you sent Gosrick, who is not really that much of an adventurer, and Shaka, who has no subtlety and no inside voice, was like, okay, yep, there you go. And let's see here. So yeah, I feel like it's worked out pretty well in terms of, yeah, I didn't think you were going to take that path, but we can work with this. And I think sometimes being that kind of DM is it's a constant battle of, I can work with this. Like, okay, you choose to do that. And I tried not to let my face express too much surprise when they absolutely asked to do something that we hadn't planned on. No. Let's see here. Ryan Coin, do you put the players' jokes? How do you mean? Like, do we make like anything the characters say canon, or do you mean we make anything the players say canon? Yeah. Pretty much, if a character says a thing has happened, does happen, or is a normal happenstance, yeah, it becomes part of that for me, especially if the character acts like this is something that happens all the time. Yeah, there it is. We also do bring the jokes, like we make jokes out of what the characters do. For instance, Gosrick did some druid stuff that kind of looked like he was doing some other kind of stuff, and we made sure to call back to what that other kind of stuff looked like to everybody watching. We made sure to make a reference back to that. Um, and Gosrick maintains the phrase, "It's not weird," which was developed during season 8. Is that right? When were you at Revel's End? Is that season 8? When the rivals were basically in a prison, and Gosrick, Masood decided that his character, yeah, season 8, decided that his character would, for somehow, eat lunch by himself in the bathroom. Masood decided that's what Gosrick would do, and said, "It's not weird." And that became, yeah, there it is. Wow, okay. Get you somebody like Mandy who makes all the clips and knows exactly where to go. Now that's something that maybe Tanya and I will talk about. Maybe Tanya and I, oh gosh. See, now I'm having more ideas for content, so someone please stop me. Yeah, no, now I'm definitely seeing I'm seeing a Rivals DM roundtable of the current cast who now have all done a season. And I am seeing us talking about things from our adventure that that went left, that went sideways, that we remember, that will be interesting to talk about it from the DM perspective, especially because you also have your other players there. So that would be interesting. Yeah, sorry, I started thinking about stuff. Um, but yeah, so we do, if a joke is made in character, yeah, it comes back, not to haunt anybody, but maybe it becomes canon. Maybe it doesn't. Sometimes, and I will say, just like in real life, sometimes a running gag um goes on too long. Sometimes viewers and chat pick up on a moment and they may pun and joke it into the ground. And if you are a viewer of a show, if you are an audience member of a show, and you are perhaps making a joke about a moment, and you notice the cast has long since stopped making that joke, you should also probably stop making that joke. That's a pro tip for all of you. Like if if it's a reference for something that happened a few seasons ago, okay, but if it's like a running joke that has definitely run its course, it's fine to stop talking about it. Did Archer ever get rid of that one, or are they still using it? Because I am not caught up on Archer at all. Well, yes, we do. We have a conversation throughout the week, and we talk before the episode, and when time permits and schedule permits, we talk after the episode. But I believe all of us are on the same page. Hey, sweet potato. All of us are on the same page in terms of what we do and don't want in our games. In terms of that, we will actually I'll actually be on a panel on Friday about safety tools in games. But we are all pretty much on the same page about what we do and don't want. We do have conversations outside of the sessions, just in case. And if a player check-in needed to happen or a DM check-in needed to happen, we would. So far, I made sure that I wanted to make sure we kept everything in terms of tone and content light enough that there were dramatic elements, but not tragic, horrific, traumatic elements, because that takes you down a completely different path role-playing wise. And it's really hard to then get the tone back to, with Rivals, I would say is comedy drama. But if you go into just drama, it's really hard to keep pulling it back to comedy. It's just my opinion, of which there are several out there on games and gaming. So, and it's really hard. I mean, I'll admit it's hard not to have something become like a quick catchphrase or a running joke. I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything else that's come back to haunt. I generally, I personally, as a player, if somebody makes an in-character comment that is just particularly funny, like I will remember it and bring it back. Like Masood coming back talking about microfungal tokens was just too much for me. So I was like, yeah, we're definitely holding on to that idea. Oh no. Not that moment. Oh gosh. So yeah. trying to I think, what was it? The Gozric was trying to pull the door open or push the door open, and we said it went the other way, and I'm like, yeah. You started with the idea that your Vampire the Masquerade game was going to be dark horror. Now it's comedy, horror, sci-fi. Yeah, that happens. And I will say that if you are playing, like I've played Stille Nacht, which is not a funny game at all. It is very dramatic. It is very sad. It is very real. It would be inappropriate for most cases to bring comedy into that game, but you know what you're getting into when you play that. Yeah, I couldn't that those are the things that I do pick up on throughout the episode. I will always call back because I know one, it's good for a laugh, and I use those laughs strategically, because then I'm like, okay, while I have that half a second while they're kind of laughing, and that it lets me figure out what I'm going to do next. But yeah, I like bringing those moments back in for that, because that was just like, that was fun. It was just great. And yeah, so that's what I've always seen Rivals as, is like a comedy drama, I guess what they call it, a dramedy or whatever. Um, as opposed to another setting like Black Die Society, which is horror. Black Die Society is set in a horror theme slash genre, so constant jokes would not necessarily be appropriate there. Chances are, if I were like, if they were having like guests or one shots or something, I would be playing a very, very different character than anything I've played before because it would be thematically appropriate. Pardon me. I also took out leftovers for dinner. I am running out of leftovers, which I'm hoping to plan. Oh God, historical. Yes, a historical novel. It's a standard historical novel. So, what was that? Mystery and history. Mystery and history. It's historical. Oh. I guess we haven't actually had we've not had a Virgil take from Kent this season yet, because Kent and Virgil are off this thing. Now, what I can't remember, did I make that pun? I feel like I've been an awful pun slash joke maker while I've been on Rivals. I don't know. I learned from the best people on the internet about my puns, and I am never ashamed of them. But yeah, I'm trying to get through my Thanksgiving leftovers. Everything should be ready to go into the freezer by the time I go out. Tanya's face says yes. So my fridge should be mostly clear of stuff. I mean, I'm only gone for 3 days, but it felt like I made way too much for Thanksgiving as it was. So I'm just happy to not have to freeze too much stuff. And I think I can actually already check into my hotel. My train tickets are happening. And that actually reminds me, there's a game I'm doing a one shot exactly. Hey, Mike. Exactly just about a month from now, that I got to figure out what I'm playing. And I want to purposely come up with a new character for it. Because as much as I like Virgil, and as much as I like Archon, I can't take them to every game under the sun. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours on the train. It's not very long. But I'd like to stretch and try and find not only just a new character, but also a class that I've never played before. I would enjoy doing that. Except maybe not yet Monk and not yet Rogue, because that's a lot of things to keep up with. But maybe Monk, but probably not. I don't know. But yeah, DC and Philly are very close together. Like, I've driven between the two back when I had a car, and it was a very easy trip. So by train, it's very fast. So yeah. Heck, even New York by train is not that much of a burden, which I miss New York as well. Eventually, we'll be traveling things again. And I did look up when PAX East is, and that's planned for April. So who knows? The relative relationship of 2 hours, but being very long and not long. Right. I don't know. I enjoy train travel. But yes, here, 2 hours by train does not get you very far. In another country, it might get you quite far indeed. I am looking forward to us getting our act together on the pandemic, so I can actually travel again. My passport's still valid. I want to go somewhere that's not in the US and that's not my own apartment. So, But yeah, I'm looking forward to this weekend. I am nervous about Friday, but excited to actually see people in person. I'm very excited to play in person. Um, the weirdest thing will be, you know, I guess that's going to be the weirdest thing for me is that we're all going to be facing, chances are, we're going to be facing outward. And and I will say, a lot of my everything, reactions, jokes, commentary, things are based on the fact that all of us are like, I'm looking at everyone's faces while I'm talking, while they're talking, etc. So this will be interesting. Also, there won't, you won't have that let's both talk at the same time on Zoom thing because we're just going to have microphones. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. But yeah, I think not seeing people's faces directly as stuff happens, I'm going to constantly be in like, see what's going on. That'll be fun. But yeah, I really do look forward to it. And I suspect that Eugenio and I will have a conversation because we have one every week. We'll probably have a conversation before the end, like before Thursday, to say, okay, what are we doing? And how are we going to do it? Because we definitely won't have time to have that conversation the day of. Probably. So yeah. Oh yeah, it's gonna be glorious chaos. It really will. I mean, especially with what we have essentially the situation that we have put forth. Yeah, like I can't wait to see how the rivals are gonna get through this next situation. I don't know. Um, and yeah, I definitely have thoughts. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. However it goes down. No one will need a new character sheet. Probably. Eh. Although we are going to print them out, so maybe we can like, no, we're not. I'm kidding. Um, I made that joke once, and I will not make it again about the DM saying, "Did you bring a new character sheet?" Because Shaka decided to touch something that hadn't. Just like I'm gonna put my hands on it, and it was like, "Oh, all right." Well, that's not bad. I don't know. Yeah, if I were going to Boston, I don't know if I would fly or take the train. I'd probably fly. I don't know. I hate air travel. Like I like that it exists, and I like the getting there. I like the travel, but everything that happens on both ends, I hate. So, eh. But I know that we're gonna have people in Philadelphia this week on Thursday night, and I'm getting in on Friday morning. And many of us are just staying for a day or 2 days, or leaving at the weekend or after the weekend. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be fun, no matter what. And if you are attending, I hope that there's a way to at least say hi and wave from a distance. You would love to see rivals at 2022 San Diego Comic Con? So would I. I would, I would love for us to be invited to another convention to do something. Um, I did not, Mur. I do not fit the requirements for the press pass for Worldcon. They are very, very strict. So I do not fit their requirements, and I can't afford to get a pass. So we'll probably have to do LobbyCon or something similar nearby when you're here. But we will still be hanging out. But yeah, probably won't see you at the actual Worldcon. Um, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, no, I would love it if anything else would have us to be there and say, okay, rivals do a one shot or rivals do something. That would be fantastic. Um, hey, base, welcome on in. Thank you for the raid. We are winding down soon, but it's always good to see you and happy to have you here. Um, you know, I also like the weird thing is, and I said this to myself, hey, Flower Crown Gaming. I said this to myself in that, you know, and other people have said this, and it's a perfectly valid and legitimate thing for somebody who is in this industry to say that I wasn't planning on going to conventions unless I was invited to one. And then they said, oh, Rival's invited to PAX. So I was like, well, I guess I can shut my mouth. But that's the thing. Like, chances are will not be visiting conventions in other parts of the country unless it's unless it's for work, part of a show. And even then, the invite just means the invite usually just covers your badge unless you are a guest of honor or something. Hold on, I'm getting a DM. My co-DM senses are tingling. Let me see, because we're both going to end at around 6. So let me see if we can find. I'm going to quickly see if we can find someone to raid so I can pass back forth that. It's so weird getting a normal DM from him and not just one in Slack. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm just looking over who I'm following, and let's see. But yeah, East Coast, I can probably make it. And that's my other thing. It's like, you know, I kind of need a reason to be there. And for me to say I'm skipping out on work for a day or two and going for the weekend, it doesn't always make sense for me to go unless there's like work, unless it's also work. So yeah. But I am happy that we're going to all be hanging out soon and seeing each other as best we can. I look forward to, at the very least, getting pictures with folks. Probably masks on more than masks off. Just gonna say. And that's really it. You know, if we go out to eat, it might be different. If we go out to eat, it might be different. But otherwise, yeah, probably gonna be doing my best to remain, you know, as masked up as I can. However, what I will do is I've actually talked to DM Jazzy Hands, and I think what we're going to do is together we're going to raid, not at the same time together, so don't worry about it. We're going to raid DJ